So the first reason for homesteading is food security. Food security. Who has had a conversation in the last month with somebody about food security? Almost everybody. Who would have thought 40 years ago that we would be having conversations about food security? Who would have thought that on the news there would be videography of empty store shelves? Who would have thought that? And so, and now, of course, it's even exacerbated by the war in Ukraine. We're hearing about, there's no wheat, and now there's no fertilizer. Fertilizer costs have gone up, somewhere between 200 and 400%, depending on what you're buying. And so, we have this production problem. Processing is a big issue. The centralization of processing. Back when in 2020, when COVID hit, and these large processors were shut down, and 500,000 hogs were euthanized and landfilled because they couldn't get into processing capacity. Just ask yourself, if the U.S., instead of having 5,000 employee mega centralized processing facilities, instead had 150,000 20 to 50 employee neighborhood community canneries, slaughterhouses, cheese making places, yogurt, the processing facilities, would we have had the same issues that we did in 2020? I suggest not. What's happened today is that the efficiency, the alleged efficiency of scale has been replaced by the fragility of too big. When you're in disturbing times, and I think all of us, whatever side of the political spectrum you're on, would agree that we're in disturbing times. When you're in disturbing waters, you don't want to be in an aircraft carrier that can't maneuver the shoals and the rocks. You want to be in a speedboat, right? It's not the big that eat the small, it's the fast that eat the slow, right? Business is all about nimbleness. And so Temple Grandin, she talked more than once about the fragility of big. And so, what's happened is that as we have headed down this path, these great big companies are gummed up, if you will. They're gummed up by human resource issues. In our homesteads, we don't wake up every morning wondering which one of our kids is going to sue us for a COVID violation. So there's a certain, and at our farm, we're a little bigger than a homestead. There's 25 of us, but I don't sit awake at night wondering who's going to turn me into OSHA for some violation. And so this is actually showing up in pricing. Recently I had a lady in the store. She kind of gasped looking at the meat counter. I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "Well, I was just at Costco. Sirloin steak down there is $16 a pound, and yours is $9 a pound." Well, for somebody that's been, excoriated all my lifetime for being a food snob and an elitist and, uncharitable toward, economically disadvantaged people, that was an exciting thing to find out. Well, maybe we're price competitive now. And so all this gumming up the works, the whole food and fiber security issue from centralized processing, the fact is that the efficiency of scale is being replaced by the fragility of bureaucratic gumming. Okay? And that's where we are. Distribution, supply chain issues. I mean, the joy of our place is I'm reading these articles about we're not going to be able to get fertilizer, we're not going to be able to get wheat. We don't buy any Ukrainian wheat. We don't buy any Russian fertilizer, okay? They can drop off the face of the earth. I'm not trying to denigrate Russians or Ukrainians, but I'm just saying we're not dependent on them. Okay, so these supply chain issues are real, and that's what's driving a lot of this food security issue. And so what that means is that our inventory, our food inventory, which has lately been tied up in the Costco warehouse. It used to be if you went into a town and you said, where's the food? It would be in people's larder. We don't even use the term anymore, larder. Larders are wonderful. Read Little House on the Prairie books. They always went to the larder. The larder was like a glorified pantry, where they kept their food and they kept their stuff from previous. And so on our homesteads, one of the first things most of us do is we turn into pack rats, and we start putting by, we're looking at look to the ant thou sluggard, right? And we're saying let's put by for the winter. And I mean, at our place we could probably live for a year on just the stuff that's canned and freezers and everything else. So having that proximate larder is a big deal. So food security for sure is driving this, what I call the homestead tsunami in our culture.